Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unconventional GMs, the series where we play games with vim and vigour and pace. And we've got a host of wonderful people to join us again this time. We're going to be playing Dead of Night, and I'm going to introduce one of the UK's best, if not the best, GMs, certainly for Dead of Night, Mr. Scott Durwood. Scott, do you want to tell us about the game we're playing this evening?
Well, thank you very much, guys. So, Dead of Night is. Well, I won't tell you too much about Dead of Night as an RPG because, well, one of our players tonight, Andrew, actually wrote the damn thing. So, I'm going to offload a lot of that onto him. But Dead of Night is the game of horror movie role playing. So, it's like pulp horror with very simple rules and rules that focus on kind of all sorts of different types of horror. And what we're going to be playing tonight is a loose scenario that I've written called Grave Danger, in which the player characters are a very small community of ghouls living underneath a graveyard in modern day England. But as I said, rather than me trying to explain how all this works, Andrew.
Excellent, thank you very much. So I've got handy prop, Dead of Night. Oh, that's not showing up at all. Let's not try that. Okay. So thank you, Scott. So Dead of Night is, as Scott said, a light role play game of B-movie horror, survival horror, campfire tales. It's intended to be quite fast-paced, quite loose with the rules. And it came about because I'm basically a lazy GM, so it's meant to be very minimal prep, very minimal load when it comes to the game. Um, so the game is kind of built around you're playing victims, and it's designed that each character is a participant in a horror movie. I mean, it sounds like in this game we're going to be part of the horrors in the horror movie. And depending on the settings that the GM uses, the kind of mechanical settings, it can tweak the game to facilitate various different types of horror. The main ways that works is things called survival points, which are simultaneously a player's hit points, sanity points, bennies, fate points, all that sort of thing. But fundamentally, in a horror movie, they are your plot immunity. So long as you've got survival points, it's fine. You can't be killed. But as soon as that last survival point is spent, the GM can write you out of the game in whatever fashion they like. But the cool thing I always think about survival points, so you can use them to do all sorts of tricks. So you're kind of incentivized to spend your survival points, so therefore hastening your end. And you can use them to do things like re-roll the dice to introduce a new cool narrative element. So if you're looking for something, if you ask the GM, have I got a gun? Well, spend a survival point and you've got a gun. You can re-roll the dice with them. I'll quickly explain the stats in a second, but we have pairs of stats, and one of the things you can spend a survival point for is to flip the scene. And there's a few other uses which will be on people's character sheets. There's a handy handout on my website as well. So that's what you can spend survival points on, but you can also get survival points back, so therefore increase your plot immunity. And slightly paradoxically, by playing up to B-movie traits. So if you wonder why in a horror movie the girl runs off on her own into the basement, well, it's because she's going to get a survival point for doing that. So if you play up to horror movie cliches, you cause trouble for yourself, or even more better, if you cause trouble for your colleagues, for your other players, you get survival points for that as well. So everyone has this kind of shared cinematic horror movie tropes. They give you survival points, but each of us will also have on our character sheet. I've noticed that Scott has handily included a bad habit, and bad habits are your own unique way of getting survival points. So, for example, my bad habit is greed. So if I eat something that's vitally important, if my greed causes trouble for either myself or the rest of the group, I'll get a survival point for that. So it encourages you, that kind of mechanic encourages us to play like a horror movie. There's no point in turtling up and not exploring, because if you're not exploring, if you're not opening that cursed tome, if you're not prying open the lid of a coffin, you're not going to get survival points and you're probably going to die. So that's the main mechanic that the players have. The GM also has another mechanic called tension, which I won't say too much about, but basically tension racks up as the game goes on. It measures the kind of pace of the horror movie, how close we are to the denouement. And whenever we spend a survival point, or sometimes if we roll a 13, or if we lose a survival point, which happens if you're attacked quite often, the tension goes up. It starts at 5 in this particular scenario. The higher it goes, the closer, the more horrific things will start to get. But the other cool thing is the GM can spend tension to muck with our dice. So if I've just failed a dice roll, but it would be kind of cool if I succeeded. If I was trying to stave Gaz's head in, for example, that's kind of fun. The GM might go, actually, I'm going to spend some tension and make me succeed. Equally, if I'm just escaped from the, wherever it is, chasing us in the sewers, and the GM's like, actually, it'd be more interesting if you were to fail at that moment. The GM can spend some of the tension to make that failure happen. And there's no real limit to how much the GM can spend with tension. I mean, there's certain constraints within the book about depending on the type of game, the type of setting, and I don't know what Scott's using in that regard because this is a homebrew one, but different ways that can encourage different types of horror movie. So that's how the survival points and the tension work. Is it worth me talking just you through your character sheet so everyone can?
I don't know. What do you think? I reckon we can get into the game and it'll become apparent through play, unless
completely, just
great stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone can see it. Yeah.
Well,
so
I'll tell you what. Well, I was going to say, should we leave that decision to Tasha, as she hasn't played Dead of Night before?
Oh, everything seems pretty clear. I'm very excited to just jump on it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Excellent. So I've realised what we've not done is properly introduced our characters or anything like that. So let's just do a little round of that. I should mention, I'm, apart from an Unconventional GM, also one half of What Would the Smart Party Do, the UK's premier RPG podcast, although Scott might argue with that, as he's also got UK podcasts, but I'll let him tell you.
There's plenty of room at the top, guys.
That's right. They're equally good podcasts. That's what I like to think. So we'll put some links in the show notes as well. You should go to blasphemoustones.com to see Scott's site. You should go to the Idea Roll YouTube channel to look at Tasha's excellent Ukrainian role-playing site. You should go after the Burn After Running blog to look at Guy's brilliant stuff. And of course, Steam Power Publishing is where Andrew's game is available. So those are some links for you all. Shall we, as players, actually discuss who we are and what we're doing? I've said I'm Gaz, I'm playing Moltong, I'm the father of this band of ghouls. So I'm kind of trying to keep the family together. I am partial to a nice delicious brain. I'm really just trying to keep everybody safe, but you know what it's like with family. It's like trying to herd kittens sometimes, but everything's been fine under the cemetery so far. So I'm quite happily in my kind of avuncular role of just making sure that everything ticks along nicely. Okay, Tasha, we've not heard from you yet. Who are you and what are you playing?
My name's Tasha. I'm part of Idea Roll Ukraine and Actual Play YouTube channel, and I'm playing Palest Eyes of the Liveworm clan. I'm the matriarch of the clan, wife of our great father, and I believe that life under the cemetery for so many years has become a little bit boring. So from all of the books I read, which one of our other clan members brought to me, I started having these ideas about maybe we should go and explore more, have a little adventure.
When will you ever learn? Boring is safety. Safety is boring. Oh, I don't know. Guy, who are you and who are you playing?
I'm playing Cold Harold. Harold, I'm sure I had a surname once because I didn't used to be a ghoul. I was just a mild-mannered antiquarian, such as you find in many horror role-playing games. I was once a player character, really. But I read some books, and through my research, I made my library use roll, and I began to suspect a hidden race of beings living under the city, and began to investigate that. And here I am now, from joining the clan and the changes that I've obviously made to my diet slightly. No one would suspect Harold to be a human. Now I am fully ghouled up, but I still love the books, and I'm quite keen on this idea of going exploring, because while it's been a new lease of life to me living under the cemetery, it is nice to go out, and maybe we could get some more books that we could read, and that would be quite exciting. So I'm all for this new adventure.
this is your human side talking. You need to embrace the ghouls. They're safely underground where I've kept you all this time, honestly. Okay, and then we have the author of Dead of Night, Andrew Kenrick. Who are you playing?
Oh, typical, isn't it? I bet you nearly forget to introduce me there. I'm playing Little Tooth. I am the younger brother of Malte, and as always, I've almost been overlooked there, saved till last. It's just because I'm small. I'm a very small ghoul, and I've been an adult for almost as long as this graveyard's existed, but everyone still treats me like a child. But what I lack in size, I make up in my hunger. I can eat anything, and I've not met anything in my long life that I've not been able to eat. So there.
What have I told you about sharing with others? Honestly. Well, that's all us introduced. So, Scott, I'm going to hand over to you now to get us cracking with the game. Unless you have anything to say about yourself, of course.
Oh gosh, yes. Well, yeah, I'm Scott. I do the occasional bit of RPG writing and podcasting. You can find the podcast that I do, The Good Friends of Jackson Elias, with Paul Fricker and Matt Sanderson at blasphemoustomes.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Lovely.
Right, so we've thrown this term ghoul around a few times. Let's just pin that down slightly before we kick off. So this is very much the Lovecraftian form of ghoul as found in Call of Cthulhu, or Pickman's Model, or the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. So these are humanoid entities with some canine features that live under the earth and primarily dine upon the remains that we leave behind in our graveyards. Think of them kind of like wombles, but with special appetites, making good use of the things that we leave behind. And this particular clan of ghouls has been living under this graveyard called Billingsfield for a very long time. And it is a nice, quiet, peaceful life down there. You have plenty of food. The graveyard isn't as busy as it used to be, and it's been quite quiet recently. But there are still enough bodies buried under here that you haven't been going hungry. The territory itself doesn't encroach upon the territory of any other ghoul tribes, so you don't really have any conflict there. It is just really quite a pleasant place to live. And today is a day like any other. You are there in your little warren. And what is it everyone's doing at the moment? How is it you're spending this day that is just like every other day?
Well, the thing that you probably don't know about Moltong is that he likes to creep off on his own and go exploring as much as he tells everybody else not to do it because it's too dangerous. So he's just snuck back in as if he's just been down to the other end of the warren just to check that everything was okay, having come back from the supermarket. So he's got some mutton and other things that have been thrown out from the supermarket and gone off, but he's cunningly placed them into the top of a cadaver's head. So he's got like a half sheared off head that he uses as a bowl from the graveyard. So he's eating out of that, pretending it's nice, tasty brains from the graveyard, even though he's just spiced up his diet with something that he's slunk off and got for himself, while busily wagging his finger at everybody and telling them to stay put and stay safe.
I'm probably checking the warren and checking that everything is all right and in place, because, everything has its place. We have ears in one bowl and toes in another one. And sometimes, kids just mess with it and they got mixed up. So I'm just checking that everyone is putting all of their belongings where they should be. Probably from time to time yelling at some of the guys who was not placing their stuff where it should be. It's like, Littlefinger, where did you put this fancy sable we took from this last body? It was really old and beautiful one.
I think I ate it, I imagine, is what happened to it. I'm busy, I am busy eating. That's what I'm up to. I don't know what I'm eating. It's probably something unpleasant. The mouldy remains of a foot or something, maybe a corner of a coffin. I've definitely got my eye on whatever moldworms just brought back, though. I can smell something
Yeah, I think Moulton's return is prompts a bit of shock in Cold Harold. He's just indulging in one of his vices that he tries to keep sort of on the down low from the rest of the clan, and they managed to find a thermos flask and some tea bags, and so he's just sipping on a nice cup of like normal human tea that they found, and just rereading some old like newspapers that he dug up from the days when he was human. And I think at the sort of re-arrival of Moulton and the sort of commotion that starts, there's a frenzy sort of as he spits it out and has to like tip it up and get some blood in there and just smear it around as if that's what he's been drinking this whole time. Not a nice, relaxing, warming cup of tea.
And your cup of tea is somewhat spoiled because there's a little tremor in the ground, and there's some loose dirt that just falls from the roof of the warren and sprinkles down, and some of it lands in the tea and some of it scatters across the book you're reading. You all feel that, and it's not unusual for there to be little bits of dirt falling from the walls and the ceiling, but that tremor, that's something new.
That was a big one.
Was it? Did you all feel it?
No. I better. My blood's been completely spoilt now. I'll just pour it out quickly. I'll have to get a fresh mug of it. As I start.
The mug is what you're worried about.
No, the blood. It's got some dirt in it. I mean, it just spoils the taste, doesn't it?
I suppose it does, but Maltan, did you feel it? Do you know what that is?
Oh, I remember a feeling like this from long ago. Feels like one of those HDV wagons or something. But why would a big truck or something be anywhere near the cemetery? We should probably go and look.
Yes, definitely we should do that.
There's another tremor as well. This one's a bit more violent, and a few big clumps of earth fall from the ceiling now, enough that a half-rotted coffin starts poking out through the ceiling, and bits start falling out from it and bouncing across the floor.
What sort of bits? Tasty bits?
I mean, everything's a tasty bit to you.
I'll snaffle a femur or something.
Yeah.
And then, I'll start to pull some of that out. Just to make space for everybody.
What are we going out through the ceiling? We have a perfect tunnels in here.
Look, stay back. We need to get it. Let's stay away from this. We don't know what's going to. And I'll try and grab Little Tooth and drag him away from his tasty coffin banquet.
It's literally cutting into our warrant.
Well, the ceiling might come in. We need to move. It's not safe. I need to keep everybody safe.
And there is another tremor.
Quick!
Okay, I think I can squeeze through there. I reckon I can squeeze through there. I'm going to try and scrabble up the coffin, I think. Try and see what's happening.
Little Tooth, no!
Well, if you're going to try to use this as a way of getting out, I think this is a perfect opportunity to explain your specializations. You've got one for.
I do. That was exactly what I was looking at. So I've got the specialization of getting to small places, and it's quite a handsome 10 on that. So are you suggesting I should roll some dice?
I think so, just to see how well this goes for you.
Okay, so
your target's 15.
Okay, so I've got a 10, and I need to roll 2d10, and if I get 15 or more, that is a success. So I've rolled a 12, so that's a 22. So that is hopefully a success.
Right. So yeah, even though there is hardly any space in this crushed coffin, you manage to slip into there very nicely, and the grave that it's connected to, or that it's falling out of, is again partially collapsed in, but you can wriggle your way up like a mole through the loose earth and just pop your head up if that's what you want.
Yeah, definitely. Whose grave is it?
You're not sure. And that's the thing. I mean, Cold Harold is very good at reading stuff like this. And maybe palest eyes and oh God, I've
Mole
forgotten.
tongue.
Mole tongue. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And mole tongue are reasonable at reading these books, but I guess you're probably more interested in eating them.
Yes. Tasty.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, you've got no idea whose grave this is, but I mean that doesn't really matter. But what is more interesting is as you pop your head up, you can see that this nice, quiet graveyard is not very quiet at the moment, maybe even not very nice. There seem to be a lot of people around, and they're doing things. They're doing things you don't understand. They're dressed in strange ways. I mean, not that human clothes make a lot of sense to you anyway, but they seem to have some kind of monsters with them, these huge ravening beasts that are making these growling sounds and belching in terrifying ways. One of them appears to be devouring a nearby grave.
That tasty goodness there. I'm going to dart back down to find Cold Harold and the others.
Okay.
I'm just,
you can-
I'm down and I'm very excited about what is happening. Slightly scared, but not very much so. So I'm thinking that we will go investigate, and I'm packing some things to take with us. I have a lovely thing which I'm calling a backpack, but actually it's someone's jumpsuit, which I just adjusted to become something to carry stuff in. And I'm taking some snacks and goodies because, you know, we're going out. Maybe we'll have a picnic or something.
Oh, yeah. Very civilized.
Finger food.
Yeah.
We should be careful. There's things out there. Look at the light pouring in through the hole in the ceiling.
Which things? Wait, what did he see?
There's monsters up there.
Monsters?
Molton's right. There are monsters. Huge ravenous beasts.
Huge
Right,
ravenous
no.
beasts. They won't be. Oh, I can't. I'm not sure if I can remember. They're probably not huge ravenous beasts.
They are.
I don't remember them. They're a new
rumbling.
thing. They're a new thing to humans. If they are.
They're slithering around.
How long have I been down here?
They're eating things. They're massive.
They're eating
jaws.
people too?
Yeah. Well, they're eating graves, so they might as well be eating people.
That's
We've got to
weird.
do something, Molton. They're
I
going to
didn't
eat
know.
our lair.
I didn't know humans have monsters
I've told you.
which
I
obey
remember.
them.
The HGVs. I remember them from long ago.
Ooh.
When they come, the ground shudders. We should perhaps see if we
Shatters
can...
like this?
Let's
Yeah.
maybe kidnap someone and maybe we can ask them questions.
Ooh, that is smart.
Oh yes, I am. I'm sure that I could pass for human still, couldn't I? I still look the most human of all of you.
Disgusting
Yeah,
yourself.
right. You're
Quite
a
a low
master
bar
of
there.
disguise.
Yeah. I'll just get. I had some of my old clothes here. Maybe I can. Little Tooth, did you? Oh, yes. You might have eaten that jacket.
A tasty shoe.
Yes. I'm going to try and assemble as close to a human disguise as I can muster to try and be able to
Yeah.
pass, so that I can maybe go and converse with these humans, which I'm sure will go swimmingly.
Even if you haven't saved all your original clothes, most of the bodies that have been buried were clothed in some respect. So you've probably got bits of clothing that you've salvaged from corpses over the years.
There's some nice damp suits that I can wear and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's probably a sort of mismatched, like the jacket and the trousers aren't quite right, and it's obviously shoes. I imagine I imagine we're sort of cloven-footed a little bit, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Very much
shoes
so.
are a little bit of a problem. I think I sort of try and fashion some sort of oversized Ugg boots or something, but that's the weakest part of the disguise, if you see what I mean. From the neck up, well, sort of from the neck down to the waist, it looks quite convincing, but from the neck up and the like legs down, it looks much less convincing.
I mean, there's also the fact that your legs don't bend in the same direction as they used to, but I mean, people might not notice that.
Also offer you a wig.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
I will. I think I will say no. The best way to pass for it, and I think I'll locate a bowler hat.
Really?
Because that'll be the perfect disguise.
Do you want to spend a
Well,
survival point
okay.
on finding a bowler hat?
I would love to spend a survival point to find a bowler hat. That sounds like an excellent investment. Does that mean threat goes up as well?
Tension goes up.
Yeah, tension does go up by
sorry,
1.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great. I will put it up.
Ancient
Well worth it, I'm sure.
bowler hat.
Oh, with such a convincing disguise, I'm sure you will pass as a.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
when I put this hat on, remember I'm still a ghoul. I will look like a human, but please don't eat me. Remember who I am. Do we need a code word so you know it's me?
Yes, sure. We need a way to distinguish you from the others.
I'll say I eat brains. I'll shout.
Okay,
No
good.
human
That's
would
a good
say
one.
that, and then you'll know.
Yes.
And I've put the bowler hat on.
And Harold puts the bowler hat on it, and suddenly it's like there's a human standing there in your midst. It's uncanny.
My stomach is rumbling just at the sight.
Are they holding little teeth back? No, it's Harold, remember. Say the
so
words, say the
amazing.
words.
I eat brains.
Oh, right, okay, right. You look so tasty there.
Okay, and what is your plan now?
I think
Shove her
I'm
up to the
gonna.
hole.
Yeah, I'm gonna go maybe through the tunnels instead. I think maybe we've got a tunnel that goes out, maybe outside the graveyard or like towards the gate, and I'll attempt to wander up and speak to them and say, like, what's going on here, and try and find out through the human way of conversing with them.
I think we should all be ready nearby in case it all goes wrong. For some, in the unlikely
Yeah.
event that there's some kind of,
I love the optimism encoded in the word "if" there.
in the unlikely event.
So so you're just sauntering up into this, as I described before, this group of people who have gathered around, and you can see that there's quite a lot, and there are definitely machines or vehicles of some kind. It's been a while since you've seen anything like this. I guess you could give me an identify roll to see whether you can work out from your memories of such things what is going on.
Certainly. So I've got identify 6. So I shall roll. Oh, and I get 8. That I believe is a failure with a double 1.
Yeah.
You could spend a survival point to reroll,
So
potentially. Or, not.
I think I'd prefer to be completely confused by this and have to talk to them.
Perfect. Yeah. Then there are people in maybe. You've just been below ground for so long. The fashions have changed greatly in that time. But the clothes they're wearing seem to be quite odd. And there are these huge, well, what do you realize are machines that obviously Little Tooth identified as monsters. But beyond that, you're not really sure what's going on. But if you wander up, there's a woman, you think, standing there with, that's a clipboard, isn't it? You thought it was a book first of all, but it's a clipboard. And she's wearing some kind of strange hat. I mean, it's not nice like your bowler hat. And she's there talking to a couple of other people, and they're looking at her clipboard as well. And as you walk over, they all look up and start screaming and just run.
Wait, fellow humans, what's going on? What is going on? I just want to know what's happening to the graveyard.
Yeah, Well, I'll tell you what, we could put this to the dice. Do you want to see whether you can convince them that you're human? I think, well, actually convincing them you're human is probably a bit too much, but you could at least try to initiate some kind of communications with them.
So
Yeah.
there's a slight rules wrinkle here, which is that no player can roll dice twice in a row.
Oh,
So guys just roll dice. So either one of us is
Oh,
going to have to
yeah.
do something,
Yeah,
or we're going to have
yeah,
to force or the GM's going to have
that's
to roll.
true.
So one of us could create a distraction potentially, or the GM could
Yeah.
just roll, or the GM could roll the dice.
Well, I think Moletongue's worried that they're going to often get more humans and more monsters. So I'm going to like run round and like a collie trying to get sheepdogs. I'm going to try to like push them back towards Cold Harold by appearing from behind a lorry or something.
that'll make them less scared of me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's all relative, right?
Okay, then I guess that probably counts as a persuade roll.
Sure, why not? I don't know if I can count as finding a compromise there. That's probably reaching a little bit. So,
No.
we'll just go for the straight roll then. So I get a total of 19.
Wow. Then, yes, you are proving very persuasive in the way that you are jumping out and terrifying people, and the people are, at least some of them are heading back in Cold Harold's direction. When I say heading back, it's not so much that they're approaching you to talk to you. It's more that they're just running in your general direction, hands in the air, screaming. But they are moving in your direction.
I should probably point out that I rolled a natural 13 there, which I think means the tension goes up by one as well.
Oh, it does.
Thank you. I'll pop it up. 7 now. Yeah, if they're running towards me, I'll be like, oh, calm down. It's fine. It's not what it looks like. Just what are you doing in the graveyard? I can help. And I go to take my hat off and then remember to not do that.
All right. Well, do you want to give me an appropriate role here then to see whether you can establish communications with?
Yeah, I would. Can I make a case for using my talk to humans specialization?
I think so. That is exactly what it's designed for. I mean, it's not any guarantee that they're going to like what you have to say, but it means that they're going to understand you.
Yeah, I can imagine what the stakes are and the level of success I'm going to get from this. Yeah, that's been clear, I think. Right. So that's an 8 and a 6, so that's 24 in total.
Oh my. Okay. So yeah, most of them carry on just screaming past you. And there are a couple of double takes as you start speaking to them. And the woman with the clipboard, it's almost like she can't help herself. And she just stops as she's running past you at some stage and looks back and says, "Did you just talk?"
So just talked. I'm a normal human person like you. I forgive my my skin condition. What's happening in the graveyard? And I'll try and like approach her gingerly, try and keep myself between her and Moletongue.
He doesn't look very happy about this, as this thing in a bowler hat is shambling towards her, and there is this monster that's been jumping out, frightening people behind her. Are either of the others getting involved with this situation at all, or are you just standing back and watching this slow motion car crash?
I actually wanted to propose, I think we established that we were approaching from the tunnel somewhere near the entrance exit point. So I see that negotiations are going really well, which is why I want to initiate a plan B and try to grab someone who is running past us, past the tunnel. And I'm probably asking the little tooth help me, like, see, we're going to grab one of them while they're running past, and then we can interrogate them when Cold Harold is back.
But I'm gonna, I'll kind of back you up. I mean, I'm only small though, so I'll let you take
No,
the initiative.
I'll
You
do.
take the initiative with this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll point one out. That one there. He looks the
Okay.
tastiest.
We're just.
I mean, the most helpful.
We're just prepared, so if someone rushes near our tunnel exit, we'll do the move.
All right. So, what are you doing? Just grabbing someone and pulling them down into the tunnel?
Well, yes, I imagine it comes from under the ground. So when someone is rushing past, I'm trying to grab him by the leg and try to drag him into the tunnel.
Fantastic.
What do I roll for that?
That would be assault.
Oh, good. I have some of that. I rolled 14, so it's a total of 19.
Okay. So I was about to say this is a risky roll as well,
Okay.
I think. So you're okay there. If you'd failed here, you would have lost a survival point.
Okay.
But you have succeeded. So yeah, you have grabbed this screaming human and pulled them under the ground, where their screams are now somewhat muffled by the earthen tunnel around them. But they are still very much trying to get away. You have got them down in the hole for the moment.
Can I try and stop them from escaping, either by threat or by just having a little nibble maybe on their legs?
Eating their legs.
Hey,
Just one leg. Just
If you
a
eat the
few
tendons,
toes.
then that's probably.
Just a toe.
Yeah, I'm sure
knee.
eating part of the leg will calm them down immensely. Let's have a roll for that.
What would you like for that?
I think
I could eat anything, or I could just make a dissuade roll, or maybe an assault. I don't know.
I think this feels like dissuade to me.
Yeah, I'm not really trying to hurt them, so I've got quite a high dissuade. I'm very dissuading. So I've got an 8. Yeah, I rolled a 14 as well. That's all right. We're all rolling 14, so I got 22. It was with a double. With that, I believe gives me a survival point.
It does. Okay, so you eat this person's foot, and that does seem to calm them down in that they stop screaming. You don't think they're dead, but they do seem to have gone very limp.
It was only a little bit of the foot. Like
Shush! We still need to interrogate him.
Yeah. Well, you
When
can talk to him
Harold is
while
back.
You talk to him from that end, and I'll carry on my work down this way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That was a very tasty bit of foot. I mean, it's not as well aged as you'd normally like your meat, but
Quite
still
fresh.
It is. Yeah, it's tangy. You could carry on eating it. I mean, if you wanted, I mean, that might make it a bit difficult to talk to him later if you eat too much of it. But
well, I'm quite a good judge of eating though, so I reckon I could judge the point at which it becomes too much. I reckon, don't you think? Surely, I wouldn't go too far.
You just wait. First of all, it's not aged enough. Don't you know that fresh flesh is not good for your stomach? Remember what happened last time?
I can eat anything though. I mean, sometimes it doesn't sit well, but his
Exactly.
maybe up to his knee. How about up to his knee? That looks a bit older.
Let's just wait a bit.
Nice bit of cartilage.
After we've talked to him, then you can eat whatever you want.
Well, talk quickly.
yeah, I guess the question here is, do you want a survival point for your bad habit?
I really do want a survival point for my bad habit. So I would quite like to carry on nibbling.
Yeah,
It's just so hard to. It's just so hard. It's so hard to stop.
Humans are like Pringles, aren't they?
Exactly. Once you have one metatarsal, you just can't stop.
And yeah, you eat away and you eat away and you eat away at the leg. And you get a survival point. And at some point, Palest Eyes is probably aware that this person seems to have gone from unconscious to, well, not breathing.
Okay, so
Just have a little bit.
yeah,
going on.
right. But you know what? I think we need to get a new one. The good news is that you can continue eating on this one.
I mean, I wasn't going to stop, so.
You need to stop for a little bit to help me get new one.
Yeah, in a minute.
And while you have this conversation,
Can I?
let's cut back to. Oh, sorry. No, carry on.
No, I just wanted to ask if this can be indulging a bad habit or whatever, because I have trust in like giving someone a second chance. So I'm absolutely
yeah.
sure that Little Tooth will not will not do the same to our new prisoner.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
think that's
very,
fair.
very excited to try again. What can go wrong?
Let's do that. Yeah, go for it. Have a survival point for that. Now, meanwhile, back up on the surface, yeah, you'd established communications with this woman with the clipboard, who seemed surprised that you could speak, but isn't very happy with the whole situation. What are you doing now that you have her attention?
Think I'm just about to say what's happening. What are you doing to the graveyard?
She seems too surprised by the fact that you're speaking to her to come up with any kind of coherent answer.
I can grab her clipboard and try and read it, because it'll have the answers on that. That's clearly got the plan on it, hasn't it?
Sure. In which case, yeah, give me an identify roll to work out what is going on.
Okay, I've got 6 to identify. Oh yeah, that's 24.
Right. In which case, yeah, you can see that at the top of the sheet of paper that is pinned to the clipboard, there is a logo. Yeah, it's a logo. You remember logos vaguely. And it says Underwood Construction. And looking through this, not all the words are familiar, and some of it seems a bit abstruse, but yeah, this seems to be a plan for redeveloping the graveyard. They seem to be turning it into something called, looking down a bit further, a business park.
I immediately turn away and go to Moltung. I'm like, this is terrible. Look at this. They're going to turn it into some sort of park. This is terrible. What desecration of the graves.
Well, just ask her what the meaning of this is. And as I get you to speak, I'm going to be walking up behind you and pick up a pickaxe or whatever to hand.
Yeah.
The only way Molotong's thinking he can find out more about this is to eat her brains. So he's going to use his friend as a distraction, and then try and bash her brains out and eat them to work out what's going on.
Yeah, I will. I'll completely be into that. I'll try and be like, what is it? Underwood Construction. Trying to get into the specifics of it. Like, what? How long is the project? How much? Just to confuse her long enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she is, I think, overwhelmed by everything that is going on here. And you do get a chance then for what will be a risky assault roll to cave this person's head in with a pickaxe.
Sure, let's make a roll. I get 17.
Okay, in which case, yeah, she seems to be calming down just for a moment, and she looks at Harold and says, "Oh, well, you have to understand that," and she's pointing at the clipboard, and then all of a sudden there is this pickaxe that just comes out through the front of her face, and she's standing there held up by the pickaxe.
Well, yes.
And
I'd understand. I understand.
Right. Well, that'll sort of move the body out of the way. No, it's me. It's me.
Oh, right. Yeah. Happens to the best of us. Yeah, they're going to develop the graveyard. It's going to be like made of it. That's how
terrible.
all this.
Well,
it's awful. Who would do that to a graveyard?
I mean, I don't know. And as I'm sort of like putting my hands wide, the body's like waggling on the end of the pickaxe as I'm gesticulating around. And so, well, look, I saw Palest Eyes and Little Tooth capture someone. So maybe you can speak to them, and then I'll eat these delicious brains. See what I can find out from that.
Yeah, well, let's go and formulate a plan.
Yeah, let's get back
We have to
underground.
put a stop to this.
Yeah, before we do something conspicuous that people would notice.
Yes.
It's actually fairly easy making your way back to the hole of the ground because all the people who were running around screaming seem to have scattered now. I mean, this graveyard is now quite like a graveyard.
It's quite a degree.
Probably when you're approaching our tunnel exit, you can hear munching, and then you go down and you see that there are already 2 or 3 bodies, and exactly the same thing happened to every one of them. And I'm like, okay, then let's just try another one. But this time you have to promise that
Yes,
you won't
I
start
promise I
eating on
promise.
them immediately.
They've all gone. They all ran off. I don't know. I think something scared them.
Yeah, I think so too.
I see you caught all
It
the
wasn't
ones.
us. We were hidden.
You
They
caught
caught
all the
them
ones
like
that had no legs beneath the knee. I see. They must have been the
They were the
slowest.
They were the easy ones to catch.
Yeah.
They're all equally horrible to eat. And by horrible, I mean delicious. There's just something fresh. Nothing you get. A fresh human. I mean, it's
Very
something quite
weird. It's probably been ages since we actually got a live human, temporarily alive.
Yeah.
It's better to put them away in the pantries and by pantries I mean
Yeah.
graves to kind of age a little bit. But
That's
It's
what
just
I
so-
kept telling you.
just so tempting. Just have a little bit more, a little bit of cartilage, a little bit of bone.
Yeah, all that fresh meat that Little Tooth has eaten, it isn't sitting very well at the moment.
No.
And while there isn't the rumbling in the earth of all the machinery that you heard before, there is now a very different kind of rumbling that's coming from you.
From my very small stomach. It's got quite a lot of
Yes.
legs in it.
But you now have a nice collection of corpses.
Excellent.
Well,
But I might have to.
so
I might have to
what
skulk
now?
off to digest.
Does one of them have a construction hat on?
They all do, yeah. Well, one of the construction hats is a bit damaged by having had a pickaxe rammed through it, but
Oh,
yeah.
but then like, look, we've got new hats for you. That's what they're wearing nowadays. And I'm giving one to Harold.
Yes, it's health and safety. You know.
Don't
The
know.
one with the
I
big-
really
the big
don't.
pickaxe hole in it. These will be the perfect disguises for all of us, though.
Oh,
We'll never put those shiny bright coats on as well, and they'll think we're one of them.
You can go anywhere if you're wearing one of those.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could formulate a plan. We need to put a stop to this because if I know something about humans, they'll be back, and so we need to deal with them once and for all.
Yes. Well, I'm going to find a nice corner and I'm going to consume the brains of the nice lady and attempt to use my consume memory skill by spending a survival point to work out what she
Okay.
knows, so I can get some information about the enemy, if you will.
Then, yeah, spend that point and let's put tension up by another one. And then, yeah, give me your specialization roll for being able to digest her memories.
I guess 17.
In which case, that is a success. So, yeah, this woman, she does seem to be. You're not always sure what the words and the terms mean, but they seem to have meaning to her. She's something called a site manager, and she seems to be responsible, at least on a local level, on this level, for turning this graveyard into, yes, this business park, whatever that is. And you can pick out the details that it does seem to involve digging up the graves that are here already and moving the bodies to another graveyard. It's the graveyard that they're moving them to. You're fairly certain that's Dustbourne clan territory. So if they move all the bodies there, yeah, you wouldn't stand a chance against them. They'd just get all your food.
Do I get like a montage of where she came from? Or something like that, so I could track back to where her warren is.
Oh yes, yeah. Her warren seems to be a strange warren. I mean, it's above ground. It's almost as complex and labyrinthine as your warren, but rather than going down into the earth, it goes up above the earth, and it's very bright, and it's full of shiny things and way too many people.
Right. Well, I'll gather the family together, and so I've as I'm licking bits of cranial fluid off my fingers.
Are we doing this like the four of us with our hands on shoulders of one another over the pile of these dead construction workers?
Yes.
Like, what did you learn?
Yeah, we do it, and then notice that like there's 6 of us. There are 2 like bodies with just like joined in that we have to like put them out. And one like little 2 still chewing on an arm. So
No, I've stopped eating now. It's not sitting well with me.
Yeah,
That last kneecap.
I'm assuming it's little tooth's stomach that's grumbling, but one of the bodies might actually still be alive, trying to crawl their way out. But we don't notice that. So I've consumed the memories of our enemy, and she's what's called a psychic mumbler. And I found out where the warren is, and it's very bright during the day, but perhaps we can get there at night. You know me, I like a compromise. I think what we should do
say about you
is go there tonight when it's dark, and wait for them. And then when the big chief turns up, the daddy of their clan, in the morning, we could make some kind of deal with him. We could perhaps use the sewers to get there, so we don't have to mess about with anybody, and just wait for the. If we can kill the head of their clan, or maybe compromise with the head of their clan, then.
Oh, you know what? In one of the books Harold brought, I learned this spell when I can become someone else for a little while. You do know because I pulled some hilarious, as I believe, jokes on you, consuming your likeness a few times. And but this time, I mean, I can consume her likeness and maybe talk to their old one
There is a slight technical problem with this.
Oh.
In that to consume the likeness of a human, you need to eat their brain. And wormtongue, not wormtongue, sorry, and mold tongue.
Already ate hers.
has just. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could do the big bird, little bird trick if you want, and if you just like get beneath me and up in your mouth, I can regurgitate the brains. If that was. I mean, they're hardly digested at all. I've only just eaten them.
I'm not sure that's exactly how it works.
It didn't work the last time.
Well, that's no reason to give in.
Defeatist mentality.
But since I'm excited to give people other chances, I'm sorry, ghouls, second chances.
Okay. I'll try and pass my brains on to Palest Eyes to see if
unfortunately, I mean, what you can regurgitate the half-digested remnants of these brains into her mouth. The essence of this woman who you devoured is still very much within you, and so she can get Paper Stars can get some nourishment from this, but the magical essence that she needs to take the likeness of this woman, yeah, that's not going to go with them.
No, that's a shame. But we tried.
Well,
We did.
we just need to get in and speak to the big chief, don't we?
Yeah, right.
So maybe when we get there, there'll be a cleaner or a site worker, an office worker we can surprise and then you can get the rest of us in like in a snack trolley or something, and then we can make a compromise with him where we don't eat him and he stops digging up our home.
Yeah, let's just in case take the brains of other guys with us, and I chop off their heads, taking them with us, not to drag the whole bodies, you know.
I mean, obviously, Plan B as well. Like
just in case, it's like valuable. And I know exactly the tunnel we need to get to the sewers and then to this warren of theirs you were talking about.
So is this the big chief of was it Underwood? You said, the Underwood big chief, or
Yeah, Mr. Underwood, I imagine he's
Mr.
called.
Lord
Mr.
Underwood. King
Lord
Underwood.
Underwood. Yeah.
Viscount Underwood.
He'll be the head of the clan. That's how it works with humans. He'll be like Molten, except a puny
what?
human, a weak human
Right, yeah, okay.
that we can easily persuade.
Oh, what
Believes
would
in
have been done without you and your vast knowledge of human beings?
Indeed, yes, indeed. I've forgotten so much, but it all comes flooding back to me. You never really forget the human ways.
Can we return to the subjects of the snack trolley? Did you say?
Well, yes. I mean, we can put our own snacks on it, I'm sure, and some of these spare brains will come in handy. I'm sure.
Okay, so I guess we're heading out to the sewers to locate their base.
Okay, so your plan is to find an underground route to this other warren.
Yes.
Now,
I do have specialization in tunneling, which might help.
yeah, I think it would. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a tunneling roll from you here. And you're relying very much on the directions that Moltung has given you and translating them from what would happen on the surface to what the equivalent route underground is.
I've got a 17.
Okay, in which case, yeah, you think you know the right route to take. It does involve, yes, going through your own warrens. It involves going through some human tunnels as well. It does go a little bit, perhaps perilously close to Dustborn clan territory, but maybe you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think so.
We're quite sneaky, aren't we? We're definitely not conspicuous.
Now, I'm sure that these tunnels are fine. That's not their territory just yet.
We're very stealthy. I think there's a big IKEA bag with all these spare brains, and I've taken a few books as well, just in case we need those. That we're dragging behind it that's clopping along on the rough surface as we sneak.
Oh God. Okay.
Shall we? Sorry to interject. Shall we? I'm just conscious of time. No. Shall we take a quick break there? Because that seems like a good natural stopping point.
That seems like a very good point for a break.
Excellent. So, viewers at home, we're just going to take a quick break for us. I was going to normally say human break, but it's a ghoul break this time around. It will only be a few seconds for you because we'll edit it out, but we'll be back with you very shortly. Hello everyone and welcome back. Due to the magic of editing of the internet, it'll have been mere seconds for you, but we've had a luxurious break. We've been drinking hot tea disguised as blood. Who knows what's been going on? We'll leave a veil over that. In the first part...
Totally method.
Yeah.
Brains everywhere.
It's very coppery, that's all I'm going to say. In the first part of Dead of Night, we were a family of ghouls, or we still are a family of ghouls, as it turns out, who were in a nice, safe graveyard that's under threat of redevelopment into a business park. So due to a combination of trying to communicate with people, kidnapping them and eating them, we've discovered where the base is, the warren of these humans, and we've determined as a family to go off and try and treat with them and perhaps discuss other options, although this route will take us dangerously close to another cemetery and a rival ghoul family, so who knows if something will come from there. But that's where we're up to, so I'm going to pass on us back over to Mr. Scott Durwood to tell us what happens next.
Fantastic. So there the four of you are with your bag of heads and other goodies, creeping through the tunnels underneath the town. And some of these are tunnels you've dug yourself, some of them are tunnels that have been dug by other ghouls, some of them are human-made ones. And as you're making your way through them, every now and then you just get the feeling that you're being watched. It's not something too obvious, but there's just perhaps every now and then the echo of movement. It's probably just rats. There's plenty of rats down here. Or maybe it's dripping water. Sometimes you move through an area where there's some human lighting and you think you see an odd shadow, but maybe that's just because the shadows look odd down here anyway. I mean, all this light underground isn't natural anyway. But still...
I'm going to go to the bag of heads and close all the eyelids. So I've just got a feeling we're being watched. I'm going to make sure I shut and face the heads downwards into the bag. Now, that'll probably sort it out. It's just a nagging feeling I've got.
Yeah, I shut my eyes as well. And don't look at Molton, so he doesn't feel like that.
I'm going to try and shove as many rats into my mouth as possible, just in case it is the rats.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Well, sorry, I'm leading the way, and at some point I'm turning back and saying, guys, I think someone is watching us. And then I see that one of them is with his eyes shut, another one with a head on his fingers, and the third one obviously with the rats in the mouth. So it's like, so you're dealing with it. Good.
I'm just imagining this little rat tail disappearing down this one's tooth from the mouth like a strand of spaghetti.
Yeah. Teamwork.
Yeah, it's all under control. We've already dealt with it.
Let's keep on heads, and I'm gonna indulge in my bad habit. So when we all move off again, I'm just curious about such things. I have to run off and investigate. I can't let my family fall into danger, so I'm gonna run off down some of the side passages every now and again, or have a look under a manhole and see what's going on, and just try and work out if someone is following us without alarming the rest of my family.
Okay. Yeah, you do that. You head off down this side passage through this... Yeah, it's probably a sewer. You're certainly traipsing through fluids of some kind. It's all a bit sticky. But... Yeah, you're fairly certain you can catch up with the others. You know where they're going, you think.
Well, Little Teeth's only got little legs, so it shouldn't be too hard to catch up to them.
Yeah. So get a survival point for that. And you... Yeah, in fact, you probably haven't lost the others because you can definitely hear the sound of someone nearby.
That sounds like eating. That's probably Little Teeth right now. I'm going to happily scamper back to my family, who are no doubt around the next corner.
Yeah, and you scamper back around the next corner, and there is this shadow. You're moving from a lit area to another ghoul tunnel, and there is this dark shadow that you realize just too late is not a shadow, that it is a ghoul who seems to have pinned themselves across the roof of the passage in the gloom, as if hiding from you. And it is a very large ghoul with a big mouth full of very sharp-looking teeth, who, in this moment, looks as surprised to see you as you probably are to see them. And they realizing they've been seen, they drop down from the ceiling. And I mean, this is a big ghoul. They have to be. I'm saying they. You're fairly sure it's a female ghoul, and she's probably about a foot, maybe even 2 feet taller than you, and leans down, cocks her head to one side, and just stares at you as if trying to decide what to do.
It seems that we've stumbled into each other's territory, I'll say, in my most compromising tone. Perhaps we could come to some kind of accommodation. Maybe it'd be best if I leave? I mean, you can leave if you want to, but I could go. Who should go?
Are you claiming this as your territory?
Well, now I look at it, I don't think it is. I think I must have got turned around in the tunnels. It's all that bright light. Do you find the bright light hurts your eyes? It gives me terrible migraines. And all the time I'll be like slowly sort of backing away towards the corner.
She is creeping towards you, and her eyes are narrowing as if she is steadily making the decision, some decision about an act of terrible violence.
Well, I want to let my find a compromise specialisation. So, before you start all that, as I can see it tensing, there's this terrible problem I've got with these psychic mumblers who are destroying all the graveyards and digging them up. And I've only come to tell you because they're doing it to ours and they're going to come to your graveyard next. So how about I go and deal with them now and then we can work out later about territory and stuff. But, I mean, if you kill me now, you'll never find out about them. You will never see them coming. They'll destroy your home like they did to ours. Perhaps you can let me be the fall guy for you and go and deal with these horrible humans and then you won't have to deal with any of it.
As you say all that, something unexpected perhaps happens, which is she looks at you and just starts laughing.
I get that from women a lot.
It's not a nice sound. It's not a cheery laugh in any way. And it echoes throughout the tunnels. The rest of you can probably hear this as well. It is a chilling sound. As she steps forward towards you and says, "Yes, I know all about that."
Oh, I say. And then I'll start running as I can.
Okay, well, in which case, I think you are very much trying to give me an... Oh, sorry, I've forgotten what it's called.
Escape, maybe?
Escape. It is escape. I was trying to remember whether it was elude or escape.
No.
Yes, it sounds then like you're trying to give me an escape roll. So I think this is a risky escape.
Is it? I will dart around the corner and I'll be screaming out the alarm words of "I eat brains" as loudly as I can. to allow the family.
Remember, it's not a human. It's not a human. I'll tell everyone.
I'm going to spend some whole point I accumulated immediately to try a reroll just to see if I can get better than that because that was terrible. So I get an 18. My escape.
Okay.
You rolled a double as well, so you can.
I'll get it back again.
In which case, yes, you managed to... I mean, her hand comes down, or rather her paw comes down in the air just by where your neck was a moment ago as you dart around the corner. And as you're running through the tunnels, you can hear her scampering behind you. She is running on all fours across the ground. She is moving fast enough that when it's coming to bends in the tunnel, she's running up the wall and bouncing down at the ground behind you. And you can hear the growling and the snarling. She doesn't quite keep up with you, which may just be down to the sheer terror driving you. But yeah, you managed to at least make it back to the others before she catches you. But you don't think you've entirely lost her.
What was it?
Barreling into her. There's a huge ghoul, and she's on the side of the humans, apparently. Oh, it's a nightmare. All our worst imaginings have come true. Another tribe of ghouls in league with the humans.
Oh, so did they plan it together to steal all our food?
Yes. That's entirely it. I think their lair was due for being turned into a business park, but she somehow made some sort of agreement with them, and now so she's going to try and kill us all to keep us quiet. I'll say
they approached human first.
Yes.
We need to make a better deal. Maybe see their bodies transformed to our cemetery instead.
Wise words as always from your palest eyes. I must insist though that we stay alive first. I think that's the first part of the plan.
And as you say that, you can hear this glibbering meeping cry echoing through the tunnels that you identify as that ghoul that was chasing you, calling for backup.
Oh no.
Well, at least you found out all that information from her. We should try and escape and get to Underwood, see Mr. Underwood, and get a deal. Is there another route we can take?
Oh, perhaps Littletooth could like create a tunnel. Maybe you could. Oh, you're good at tunneling, right?
No, you're thinking of Palest Eyes is good at tunneling. I'm good at eating.
Oh, that's right.
I could try and eat her.
Yeah.
How big was she? I mean, I don't know. Is it frowned upon to eat ghouls? I suspect it's probably frowned upon to eat.
Our plan B
It's
will
considered rude. Yeah.
set in a trap.
Impolite. Okay.
Oh,
And then
setting a
if she
trap.
gets into it, you can eat her. But yeah, let's try to find an alternative tunnel first. I'm trying to figure out if I remember any sideways.
Okay, then I think this is a good chance again for you to use your specialization
would
and see
love
whether you
to.
can find a different route.
I'm good. It's 21, I think, altogether.
Oh, wow. Okay, then... Yeah, you can find... Well, I mean, you know that there are a number of routes that you could take that would take you somewhere near the site you're going to. I mean, the path that you were going to take is the one that Mole Tongue has just effectively soured for you. But you can probably find something that comes a bit closer. Alternatively, I mean, you might be able to dig your way through the clay to somewhere underneath or on the grounds of that building.
Yeah, right. So this was the short way, but now that you mentioned, I do remember something which I marked in my head as the scenic route. It's a bit longer, but then we can make a shortcut through the clay, and we'll be there in like no time. Well, sometime, one significant amount of time, but we'll be there.
Then we leave a distraction. We could put some of these heads on another route so they think we've gone that way.
Yeah, that's a very smart thinking. Let's do it.
I could try and conceal our passage potentially. I could make some sort of obfuscation using body parts and brain parts.
Yeah, if you want to leave like
I could
False
vomit
trail.
a
up.
false trail.
I could even vomit up some of those kneecaps and cartilage that's not sitting right, and try and create a trail that way. So I could try and dissuade them from following us.
Yeah, well, I think that would be obscure, actually.
Oh, that's right. Yes, obscure. That's even better. So
but
if I can, I'll start to vomit up stuff and try and smear and make a mess and make it look like we've gone some other way.
Okay. Yep. Puke away.
I didn't think this was going to be a theme when we started this game, but he's coming up with that.
It is a narrow success. I got a 17.
Well, it's still a success. So, yeah, you think you have laid a very convincing trail of puke.
Yeah. Look at all that bile.
Yeah, I mean, the way the kneecaps glint in the bile looks really quite lovely.
I know. It seems a shame to waste them, but it does make room for more exciting things later.
Yeah, I'm imagining wanting to pull Littleteeth back as like a dog when he wants to eat its own sick. Is that kind of like, well, that's tasty.
We have more kneecaps back home.
These are fresh. In fact, these are partially digested. There's a certain piquance to them.
Good. Well, let's be aware quick before that ravening beast finds us.
Yeah, and you scurry off, and as you do so, you can hear just in the distance behind you this conversation that's going on between a small group of ghouls. One of them, the woman who, or at least the ghoul who was following Bold Tongue, was saying, "They've gone this way. Look at those kneecaps."
See, always thinking.
We'll try not to spoil it by high-fiving each other and creating noise. By...
Okay, and So is your plan then to try to dig your way effectively into the grounds of the building, or are you going to come up somewhere nearby using an existing hole or structure? I mean, the former would take you where you want to go, but it would take longer. The latter would be much quicker, but it means probably having to cross some open ground.
I think we're right taking a little bit longer to get closer.
Yeah.
aren't we?
Yeah, let's dig in.
Okay. And so you dig, and you dig, and you dig. And there are four of you, and particularly Palest Eyes is a particularly adept tunneler. And so you do make your way through the clay at a reasonable clip, but it still takes time. And you find yourself then hitting this hard rock-like layer, which you certainly recognize as being the kind of thing you've encountered in human constructions before, which you can break through fairly easily. And
So-
you come up in some kind of structure. It doesn't seem to. You think it might be underground. There aren't any windows. Yeah, I mean, you think that, yeah, that you've seen enough underground human structures before that you think this is the kind of thing humans build underground. And it's full of strange things. You're not quite sure what they are. But, yeah, it definitely looks like an underground thing.
I will scrabble around looking for. Sorry, Henry.
I was gonna say it must be the main entrance to their warren.
We've done well.
Yes, very nice.
We're into
Is
your
this their
territory
like
now.
central room in their headquarters?
I'll just try and find out, and I will scurry around to try and find like any sort of signs or maps or sign of what this is, and racking my memory as well. See, is this a car park? Is this a basement? Is this the main entrance? Because it feels like it should be then. The ghoul part of me thinks, oh yeah, this should be the main building. Why isn't everyone here? But I'm trying to remember what it could be.
Well, give me an identify roll then.
Certainly will. That is a 16.
Oh,
So
just.
yeah.
In which case, yeah, you're not quite sure initially about all these items of what you think might be furniture, though they look a bit more metallic than most of the furniture you remember. But eventually you spot what you realize is a door and open that up, and yeah, you read the sign on the front of it that just says records room.
Oh, so this is the records room. Their records room.
It's a record.
This
we
is
get to
the
read.
room. This is the room they keep them in.
I've heard about these. Are they the things you put on gramophones?
Yes, they are. That's unusual, isn't it? Well, let's look. We should explore, because that sounds like it might be useful.
Yeah. I don't think that Bold Tongue has ever seen a gramophone, but yeah, you probably put these stacks of papers on gramophones. I'm sure that works fine.
I'll know it when I see it.
You might have eaten someone's brain who once saw one.
That's right.
Yeah, so are you trying to put a stack of paper on your claw and sort of circle it around?
They'll have one of those things you put receipts on where you've got like the spike that you put your thing. So I've got on that, and I'm kind of spinning them round.
Wait, try and make it out as you spin it. I think there's writing on it, Milton. Can you read it? Can you make it out as it spins?
It means nothing to me. Maybe if I try backwards.
Yeah.
What are they records of though? Do they tell us something, or do they tell you something, Cold Harold?
It's very difficult to say. I'll be sort of gingerly looking through them, but I think just to lean into the fact that I can't make another check now, can I? Until somebody else does. I think I'm a bit overwhelmed by this quantity of written data.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, you've been reading the same half dozen tomes over and over again for decades, and this is suddenly more written material than you've seen since you were human.
I'm going to dive into a filing cabinet and be like looking through. And so I'll tell you in a minute or an hour or so. Just carry on, and I'll just be looking through reading.
Like the best novel you've ever read, and it's like
are you
that receipts.
Yeah.
Are you sure these are the records and writings? Because I know how books look like. I remember the books you brought to us, and they were handwritten. And these little signs here, they don't really look like letters to me. I don't think somebody actually wrote it.
There's different human ways of doing that.
Look, I think we're getting distracted from our task. We're supposed to be finding the Viscount Underwood and treating with him.
Malton, do you remember something from that woman's brain? Where do we go? How does their boss look like?
Well, there was definitely a square chamber with holes in to let the light in, and there's none here. So we probably need to go and maybe go upstairs.
Yeah.
I remember the Warren went upwards, if I remember rightly.
I mean, her memories are beginning to fade already, but I mean, you're clinging on to bits of it, and there is her boss. You do seem to remember roughly what he looks like, but then again, all humans look the same to you.
In the as we go upstairs, is there on the wall, say, a chart for lots of people's photographs on that we can take with us?
Spend a survivor point.
Oh yeah, that seems like a very good use of survivor points. Yeah, I'll spend a survivor point on that to find basically an organizational chart, a series of family portraits that have been they've put up for posterity, and can we see which of these very lifelike but hideous family portraits is the Lord Underwood?
And sure enough, I think with the last vestiges of the woman's memory, Moletongue can pick out Martin Underwood, who is you're not quite sure what CEO means, but he's whatever that is.
Theo.
He's probably at the very top of the Warren, I imagine, with lots of guards to protect him and secret passages and things.
He's at the very top of this organizational family tree. Do you think we have to fight our way past all these underlings?
Possibly.
They're only humans, right?
Or sneak past them, or eat them, or compromise with them. There's many tools in our family chat.
Right.
Or eat them.
But then, again, I feel a bit uncomfortable with so many walking humans around, I'm used to them lying in coffins.
I mean, we can make them not walk, can't we?
Yeah, I think we should do that along the way.
That would comfort me a lot.
By the way, considering Cold Harold's bad habit, I mean, you are somewhere that has got all this printed material down here, and if you watch the survival point, you could certainly just wander off in these records and get yourself into trouble.
I was just about to. I mean, I think there's probably some other record rooms attached to this.
Oh yeah,
with some narrow stacks of things that I will, while this discussion is going on, I'll just quietly, without drawing attention to it, just wonder. They must have better books down there, because these VAT receipts are getting a little bit samey. But there's bound to be I saw a sort of I saw a strategic plan over there. That looks but much better plot in that one. I'll wander down into this record.
Well, and at one of them there is a door that has got a big label on it that says security door, do not open. That's clearly what they keep all the good stuff behind.
That's where they keep the good books, isn't it? Yes, definitely. I'll push it open and charge it.
The forbidden tomes, I reckon.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
The kind of tomes that led to me finding you guys out. That's what happened. Okay. Yeah.
So while the rest of you are perhaps wondering where the hell Cold Harold has got to, suddenly there is a very loud wailing sound that is filling the air.
Oh, the ghouls found us again. There she is, screaming for our blood.
It's the shrill sound of a hideous creature.
We need to go help or distract.
Can I identify what sort of creature would make that noise?
You can give me an identify roll.
I'm not very good at identifying, but I'll risk it. Oh, I got a 12 in total. That is definitely the sound of a sewer moth.
Yeah, oh, sewer moths are deadly. I mean, you get a whole pack of those, and they can strip a ghoul to the bones in minutes.
You should go quickly. Every ghoul for themselves.
Flee.
I'm gonna run upstairs, I think.
Okay, so Little Tooth is running upstairs. Cold Harold has wandered off to God knows where. What about the rest of you?
I'm looking to Malton. What do we do? Where do we go?
Oh, but let's stay here where it's safe. Let's go through that door there.
Okay,
And
you lead.
I'll sort of like, I imagine we're kind of like halfway up the stairwell. There's a doorway onto this floor, and someone's gone down, someone's gone up, so we're going to go in and try and find some humans to make lie down. And maybe the moths will eat them instead. That's my plan.
Okay, in which case, it sounds like then Moltung is taking the lead on this particular hunt. How about an identify roll just to see whether you can find some people to make lie down?
I can have a go. I get 15 on the money.
Oh, there you go. In which case, yeah, you prowl through this refreshingly underground warren. But, you know, where the only real distraction's the light and the screaming of these moths. And you do, as you open up one of these doors, come face to face with a very surprised-looking man who is, he's holding some kind of stick in his hand. And as he sees you, he just stops for a moment in wide-eyed panic, and then just starts whacking you with this stick repeatedly.
Rude.
Oh gosh, I get to roll dice here.
Ooh.
Yeah, treat yourself.
Oh, and I rolled a 4.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
what
My
is
protect's
your...
5, so
Okay.
I think
So,
I'm safe.
yeah, this is very ineffectual at the moment. He is just basically... I'm imagining it as you basically standing there, just confused as this man is hitting you with a stick and not hurting you at all.
I'm going to look across the palest eyes and say, this is very irritating. Can you do something about it?
I mean, I don't want to be devil's advocate, but the GM could potentially spend tension. I don't know what the GM's tension is, but it might be the role might be so rubbish that it's not worth it.
Yeah, the GM is saving his tension for later.
That's why. That is what I'm worried about.
Oh, I want to interfere and get the stick out of his hand, but maybe together with his hand. You know, humans are so fragile.
Then give me an assault roll.
Assault roll. Oh, it's a 14.
Okay, so that suddenly seems to have spurred him into action, in that he was just flailing around with his stick before, but now the terror of being attacked seems to have driven him to new heights of violence, and he hits you right in the tender part of one of your ears, and your ear is now ringing. You lose a survival point, and yeah, you're getting driven back away from this doorway as this man is, you realize, not that you speak human very well, but seems to be calling for help.
Right, well, much as he was spurred on by the assault, I'm now spurred on by assaulting palest eyes, so I'll get quite angry, and I'm going to leap upon his back and try and eat his face from the back ways to the front. So yeah, I'm going to assault him.
Whoever's in charge of tension points when the when Palest Eyes lost a survival point.
I've just put it up.
Yeah, that's like...
So I get a 17 on my assault to try and eat his face.
Nice.
Okay, in which case you eat his face. His face is eaten.
God.
And all the smacking stops. There is still the sound of moths all around you, and there is something. I mean, even though you seem to have killed him, you believe, you can still hear a voice coming from incongruously around his waist.
Well, this is no. I normally get little to eat this bit. I'll say, looking down at his midsection.
Is he still talking? Does he has another head there?
Well, at least he's lying down. Well, he makes a good distraction for the moths now, at least, because he'll still be talking. He won't be going anywhere.
Yeah, right.
Perhaps we need to find Cold Harold. Where did he go?
Yeah, that's a good. Well, that's a good question. Where has Cold Harold gone? So you'd wandered through the security door, and are you just wandering still aimlessly around, looking for stuff to read?
I'm not wandering aimlessly around looking for stuff to read. I'm looking for the important texts that will unlock the secret to what's happening here. So I'm eagerly scanning any written materials that I find, in the hopes of finding some useful information that will help us, that I'll be able to take back to my clan, and prove my worth again. Because sometimes they don't think I'm a fully ghoul. So
In which case,
you're not a full ghoul, are you? I'm sorry.
Ooh. In which case, yeah, give me an identify roll to see whether you can learn anything useful down here.
Ooh, that's a 14. I think I'm going to re-roll that.
Okay.
Because
Oh, wow. Tension is up to 14 now.
yeah, that's 26 and a double as well. So I'll get that survival
So you
point
get
back.
a
I understand,
survival point.
Yeah. Well, I'll get the one I spent back, I guess.
In which case, you can see that, yeah, it takes you a little while to work out what the current date is. But you can see that this scheme to redevelop Billingsfield Cemetery is a comparatively recent thing. It looks like there have been studies done about the cost effectiveness of transferring all these graves across to another site, but yeah, and it had been dismissed before for cost reasons, and then fairly recently the whole plan got resurrected again, and it seems to be entirely the brainchild of Martin Underwood.
Moltung, I knew it all along. It's those other ghouls. Picking them. Martin Underwood's the key. I say to myself, it's like Martin Underwood's the key, and then realise that I'm nowhere near anyone else that I came from, and there's this wailing sound going on, and I think, right, Martin Underwood, and I run like scampering with this like sheaf of papers to try and find them.
We're probably hearing footsteps approach, and I was like, quick, it's this thing chasing us.
I'll pick up the stick and wait behind the door.
Well, let's just very quickly deal with Littletooth, because Littletooth had also wandered off on his own to get away from the moths.
I ran upstairs.
Now, you've run upstairs, yes. So what you realize as you get upstairs is that this decision to dig up through the clay and come up underneath the building, while it definitely stopped you being seen getting in here, it did take longer than you thought, because as you make your way up and you leave the underground area, you can start seeing that there are all these windows around. These windows, you've encountered windows before, maybe not very often, but you've encountered windows, and there does seem to be daylight coming through them. And now that you're there above this underground level, There are also people around.
Oh no. Well, luckily I'm a quick think. Well, I'm a thinker, maybe not a quick thinker. Well, I can get into small places. Can I find? Is there like a air vent or something I could get into?
Oh,
Some sort of
yeah.
wall cavity? Can I dart into some sort of an out of sight?
Yeah, I think diving into an air vent sounds like a fantastic idea. Okay, then let's have a roll.
So I've rolled a natural 13, which is good news for you and your tension, but it is 23 in total, which is good news for hopefully me. So everybody wins.
Okay, so tension has now maxed out at 15.
Oh, good. That's I'm sure fine.
Right, so Little Tooth is in the air vent, separated from everyone else. Cold Harold is running around trying to find the others. And as comedic as it would be to have Mold Tongue batter Cold Harold with the stick, I think you do realize that it's him just as you're about to bring it down on him.
Maybe he shouts the
I don't eat brains. Although I eat brains. I eat brains. I thought you were humans. No, it's me.
It's all right. You're not wearing the bowler hat. They can tell you're a ghoul.
Harold, we're anything like this human's still talking to us, and I'll point down to the bloody skull-faced corpse on the floor that's still squawking by the radio.
Still talking to you?
Listen, you can hear the voices from its waist.
I shall lean down to the waist.
I've heard
So
the human expression of talking from your arse. Maybe this is what's happening.
Maybe it is. I will lean down to the waist and say, "Hello? Hello, what are you trying to tell us?" Start to where this voice is coming from and try and...
I'll tell you what, give me a persuade roll to see whether you can persuade this device that is the voices are coming from to actually work for you.
do you want persuade or do you want to talk to humans?
No, this is definitely persuade because
it's not human yet. Yeah.
It's the machine you're trying to make work.
Lovely. That's a 21 to persuade the machine.
So, yeah, you possibly have seen a walkie-talkie at some stage before, and you hit the right button to talk, and you say that, and as you release it, you hear a voice saying, "Brian, is everything all right, Brian? What's with the alarm down there?"
I look around for a long pause and say,
"Did he say brain?"
Say, "Everything's under control. It's a false alarm. Turn the alarm off."
Give me a talk to no, you can't because you just made that roll. Yeah,
you could spend a survival point to roll again. That
You
is
can
allowed.
do talk to humans now. No.
Go for it. Yeah. I'll spend a survival point. Tension's at 15 already. Doesn't matter, does it? So, yeah. I'll spend a survival point to try and get them to turn the alarm off.
Okay, give me a talk to humans roll to convince them to turn it off.
28.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to spend the tension to wreck that roll. That's too rich for my blood. So yeah, I mean you hear the voice saying, "Oh, I can barely hear you, Brian. Hang on, let me just turn this alarm off."
Excellent.
And then suddenly, yeah, the moths go quiet.
Oh, they've been driven off.
Goodness.
And yeah, Little Tooth can hear this from within the vents. All of a sudden, the moths, which were somewhere below ground, seem to have gone quiet.
I'll take the walkie-talkie and give it to Mold Tongue because he's in charge, and say, "This is useful. You can talk to the humans with it.
Good.
Just keep it safe."
Well, I'll kind of tie it around my waist with the expandable cord thing.
And so what now? The three of you are there. Just, you reckon just below the surface of this building, or just underground?
Well, Littletooth went scouting for us to find where Baron Underwood lives. So he's no doubt keeping an eye on him at this very minute. So we should head upstairs to try and find what's going on. So we're going to start screening up and try and find.
I'm sure there'll be like half digested bits of people we can use to track to where Littletooth is.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
hopefully
normally what we do.
Hopefully there's enough of Underwood left to speak to, and he's not devoured him completely.
In which case, let's cut back to Littletooth as he is making his way through this, what feels weirdly like a metal warren. You're clanging as you're making your way through this tight metal space, which for any other ghoul will probably be too small, but is oddly comforting for you.
Fine, and it's proof that humans and ghouls have got more in common than we realise. But I'll carry on scrabbling through the tunnel, through these metal tunnels, and try and find somewhere, something likely to pop out. Maybe somewhere a bit quieter, somewhere there's food, possibly.
Ooh. Then I'd say give me an identify roll.
Well, now, identify is very poor, but I'm going to spend a survival point to flip my identifier and my obscure to make it very good.
Nice.
I mean, I suppose I could have spent 2 survival points to add a new specialization, but I don't think I'll do that. So I've rolled. Still. I've rolled a 6, which with my new skill with my new stat of 8 is still a fail. I've got a 14.
In which case, yeah, you are clambering around through these tunnels, and you certainly can't find anything tasty there. Were you thinking of spending a survival point for a reroll there, or should I narrate something bad?
Oh, yeah, go on, do something bad. Let's live a little.
Yeah, so you clamber and you make your way, across and up and down in various places, but mostly up. And at some point, you're moving across this this slightly wider area, and the floor of this metal tunnel that you're under suddenly gives away, and you find yourself falling for several feet, and then you land on a wooden surface. Yeah, you're fairly certain it's wooden. I mean, you've seen plenty of wood in coffins, but this is much nicer than any coffin you've ever seen, or at least much more intact. And there are a bunch of humans sitting around this coffin lid or whatever it is. Yeah. As you land in the middle, and there are possibly foodstuffs here as well. I mean, there are certain things that smell like the kind of thing humans eat, but the people just stop speaking and look at you in absolute terror, and a whole bunch of them run for their lives. But there is one figure sitting very still, just looking at you as the others scatter. This human figure who looks at you and then, incongruously perhaps, glibbers and ghoulish and says, "What are you doing here, little thing?"
That doesn't sound like us. Does he look like the picture of Baron Underwood that we saw? King Underwood?
Humans all look the same to you.
Oh, that's true. No, you're right.
Yeah.
What's he say? I'm distracted. I've not had anything to eat for at least 10 minutes. I'm gonna have to. I think I'm just gonna vomit up the remains of my breakfast from earlier, just right in front of him, in the hope it will provide a distraction.
Well, we'll find out how good a distraction that is shortly, but let's cut back to the others who are there with their dead security guard and their live radio. deciding what to do.
Maybe, actually, Harold, you could disguise yourself as Brian, and you could lead the way. And then if we encounter anybody, you can just bluff your way past.
I'll mop the brain entrails off the cap that he had, and yeah, quickly.
Also, he still has brains, does he?
Oh yeah.
I can consume his brains.
Yeah.
You could disguise yourself as him. Actually, that might be slightly more convincing, I think.
What about we both do it and then double our chances?
You eat the brains, and
yes,
assume it's
and you
Bob.
disguise yourself.
I'll wear his hat. Yeah.
Nice.
Put my arms around my family. Teamwork makes the dream work. Look at this.
Okay, so spend your survival point on your consumed likeness ability here.
Just did.
And let's just have a roll then to see how convincing this disguise is.
21 altogether. Quite
that's
convincing.
good. Yeah. So
it's
this
much
looks
better
very
with
good.
actual brains.
Yeah.
Do you want me to roll, Scott, as well? Or probably not, I imagine.
Oh, you can, if it will make you feel better. I can't imagine what it would
I don't think it
accomplish.
will. I don't think it will.
So let's get this straight. So Cold Harold is wearing his uniform. And Painless Eyes is basically wandering around as a naked Brian.
I know. I think I'm just wearing his hat. That's
the hat.
enough for a quick glance. It worked before, I think. It worked before, didn't it? It worked before.
Yeah, it did.
She talked to me in a terrified way, but she did talk to me. So yeah.
All you need is the right hat to disguise yourself as a human. Yeah, you prove that.
Yeah.
Just remember, if we meet someone, I open the mouth, but you do the talking. I don't really speak very fluent human.
Yes, we'll do that. Yeah, that's it. I'm sure it'll work. Yeah.
That's a solid plan, right?
It won't look at all like a badly dubbed Hong Kong movie or anything. It'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, Moulton, you're in charge of Plan B. Well, we don't need to talk about what that is now, but Plan B, yeah.
It's implicit what Plan B is.
Yeah, I'll pat the big stick in my hand. Yeah, okay.
And while you're ironing out the fine details of your weekend at Birdie's plan, you hear this squawk over the radio, and this voice saying, "Security, everyone to the conference room. There's a disturbance in the conference room."
There's your trail.
Oh, we should go there.
Yeah, let's go there.
Let's
Where
do
is it?
I'm going to spend a survival point to have a map next to Brian with conference room, and you are here written on it, and like a little line.
Fantastic. Yep, you can absolutely do that. So, yeah, you can start making your way up to the conference room. Now, I don't think there's any role that is going to stop this little sortie attracting attention.
How very dare you. This is a wonderful plan with no flaws.
But if there is some form of mitigation or damage control you wish to do to try to make your progress up to the conference room go more smoothly, I am very open to suggestions.
Well, I think probably Palest Eyes is walking out like in full view, while me and Moltung are like sneaking from door to door and trying to keep out of sight a little bit in the hopes that they'll just see her as Brian and not us. So we're trying to be stealthy, but not that. I think so. So it's not just like this motley crew of three of us, two girls and a human.
In which case, I'd say out of the three of you, the one who probably needs to hide the most is Moltung, because
the one
he doesn't
without
even
the
have.
hat.
Yeah, because the hat.
Because he doesn't even have a hat. Yeah.
I haven't got Brian's face, but I'm.
It keeps slipping off.
So you're wearing his chewed face over your snout.
I belated remember to regurgitate it and then tried to plaster it on. Right, so some kind of
yeah, I think an obscure. Yeah.
Okay, I'll spend another survival point to flip my obscure and identity round for this scene. Let's see how that goes. Oh, pretty good. I get 23.
Then maybe it is just with all the confusion with the alarm having gone off earlier and now the security guards being called to the conference room. But you do manage to make your way up the stairs with a bare minimum of people screaming. It's surprising. Only a few of them do. And what's perhaps even more surprising is they do seem almost as upset by Palest Eye's appearance, which perhaps belatedly you realise is because she is still covered in Brian's blood. But yeah, I think with that obscure role, no one actually stops you as you make your way up. But let's cut back to Littletooth, who does have a little time here to perhaps deal with the situation before backup arrives.
Did you say there was human food? You said there was food on the table.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I'm
Yeah.
a nervous. Obviously, I'm a nervous eater. It goes without saying. I'm quite nervous here, so I'm gonna be shoveling. I don't know, whatever it is in my mouth.
Donuts.
And the plates, and the donuts are on, all sorts of
Yeah.
the mug as well. How can you, how can you speak? How do you speak Ghoul? My lord, I guess. Is that how I address Viscount? I don't know. I wasn't told. I don't know this weird human words. Cold Harold never told me. I'm just nervously babbling at him and eating. I'm still sitting right in the middle of the table.
What are you doing here? You are a liverworm.
Yes, I'm prominent in the liverworm clan. I'm not the least of the liverworm clans at all, no matter what someone's told you.
And what are you doing here? Besides preparing for death.
Well, no. I'm scouting out. I've been sent ahead to prepare the way for a council of liverworms to come and entreat you for something. That doesn't sound very plausible. Let's go with that anyway.
Maybe your sacrifice can serve as a warning to them, he says, reaching out for you.
Oh, we don't need a sacrifice. I'm going to try and scamper out the way. Maybe scamper under the table.
Then, yeah, I think give me an escape roll.
Well, I don't like the look of what's going on here. I'm hoping my family will arrive soon. So with an escape of 6. Oh, it's a 16. That is just a success.
I think this is a good time for me to spend some tension.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I'm going to spend 2 points of tension and turn that into a 14.
Okay, would that be a failure then?
That would be a failure. So, yeah, he grabs you by the scruff of the neck and just holds you up. And for a human, he does seem to be very strong. And you can see a very ghoulish glint in his eyes as he starts to bring you towards him.
Do I lose a survival point?
You do, yes.
Okay, thanks. You're not a human at all.
Maybe you are not as stupid as you seem.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
He looks at you for a moment and says, I could talk to you to find out what you're doing here. Or I could just eat your brains.
The first one, torture. Oh, did he say torture or did he say talk to me?
Talk to you, he said.
Oh, I thought he said torture me. Oh, okay, no, the talk to you.
Third option.
Shouldn't have said that. Forget I said that.
Okay, and we'll cut back to the others as you make your way up the stairs, and you're up on this floor where there are lots of people running around all the more enthusiastically now that they see the group of you moving through their midst. And you can see up ahead of you this large window. Yeah, I guess some kind of large window. And you can see on the far side of it this human figure holding Little Tooth up in a very threatening way. And the human seems to be opening his jaws very, very wide and bringing Little Tooth up towards him as if ready to bite his head off.
Well, no one bullies Little Tooth except me, so I'm gonna persuade this window to open by cannonballing through it and saying, "Stop!"
Well, I think if you're breaking the window and going through it, that's actually a dissuade. You're
is it?
dissuading the window from working.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I'll spend another survival point then to make that roll better. Flip my stats round.
Okay, so we're back up to 15 tension.
And I've got a 22.
Nice. Okay, so just as this figure is about to bite Little Tooth's head off,
My head.
you see the form of your big brother come smashing through this pane of glass. And behind him, there is a blood-spattered security guard. And what must be another security guard beside him because he's wearing a hat.
It's very convincing. No wonder they got so far without being spotted. Help me!
Stop! We can talk about this. There's a compromise you can make.
He's a ghoul. Don't trust him. He's trying to eat my brains. And we know what that'll do.
You'll be sick for weeks if you eat his brains. Put him down quick. And I'll be like signalling behind my back for the others to come in.
Yeah, we're rushing in, right?
Actually, I'm not going to rush in. I'm going to. Oh wait, no, you've got the walkie-talkie, haven't you?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and rush to get the walkie-talkie, and probably like lean down so I don't realise you can take it off the belt. We haven't realised that yet, and be like, security to the conference room. Baron Underwood has turned into a monster.
And as you press the button to say that, at the other end of it, you can just hear screams.
That's not very
And
reassuring.
and the
Terrible
sound
monsters in here.
and the sound of ripping flesh.
Ooh.
good. Can I try and he's obviously paused and is trying to eat my head.
Yeah, he has been distracted from this. Yes.
Can I try and eat his head instead? Or at least a part of it. He's just a human. He's just a human
Fire with
size.
fire.
He's just a
Yeah.
human and I am a ghoul. Well, he's not a human, obviously.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then go on. Give this
I
a
don't know,
try.
but- So it says on my character sheet that it costs a survivor point if the object is something I really shouldn't be able to eat. I don't know if a head counts as that, but shall I spend a survivor point anyway?
I think if you're trying to do the whole thing in one go, that's going to cost
Yeah.
a survival point.
Because I will have to extend my jaw quite
Oh, yeah.
wide, much like he was trying to do. Okay. Oh, that's quite a good roll though. I rolled an 18, which plus that's 27.
Okay, then the rest of you can see the incongruous sight of Little Tooth's mouth opening up to this huge aperture and clamping down on the head of this figure who you realise is probably Martin Underwood. And he still has, or at least the threat still has enough survival points that you're not biting the head straight off. But you just had the sight of Little Tooth basically holding onto his neck like a second head almost. His entire mouth clamped around his head, worrying away at it, while the figure is thrashing around madly.
We can talk about this. I'll kind of look at
What's
birds.
everyone?
I
else
want to put like this stick or whatever that the guard has in a hand to make this Underwood trip and fall down instead of rushing around the room.
Nice. Okay, in which case, yeah, give me an assault roll, and this will be a risky roll, so if you fail, you lose a survival point.
Ooh. Oh, I so fail. Can I spend a survival point instead to reroll?
You can, yes.
Then I want to do that. Oh, that's better. It's 18.
Then that is enough. So, yeah, for a moment it does look like you're about to get trampled, but you manage to stick the stick between his legs, and he does trip up. And so he is now flailing around on the ground with this tiny ghoul stuck on his head, munching away. There are muffled cries coming from within Little Tooth's mouth.
Not for the first time.
I raise up my papers and a pencil that I took from it. I said, "What? Hypothesis.
Huh?
It's a human word. It means I think this is what's going on.
Oh.
He's a human who's turned into a ghoul like me. I think there's a way to turn him back. But it's quite dangerous and he'll die.
It's a risk I'm willing to take.
Can we do that? If that's okay with you, Scott. I'm thinking that I've read.
Yeah.
I can do like the thing that I did, like backwards or something.
Sure. I mean, the thing that you did take years.
Yeah, there might be another. I'm
but-
thinking I'm an occult scholar, so maybe there's some ritual to unghoul him that definitely doesn't risk everybody around. Also unghouling.
Or are you unghouling or reghouling?
Or yeah, I haven't entirely thought this through. That's why I said hypothesis at the start of it.
Give it a go.
In
It
which
sounds like
case,
it
yeah.
can't possibly go wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I think give me your occult scholar roll to see whether you can make this happen.
Let's see.
I can bend his knees back the other way. If that
spend
helps.
I can imagine. Yeah. At least you've only got 15 tension. So that's actually 26
Yeah.
on there.
So I'd need to spend 12 points of tension to mess with that.
Diffuse the situation.
On the other hand, this is a really dramatic moment to do that. So I think I am going to completely fuck you over here. Because So tell me what it is precisely you're doing to unghoul him.
I think that it's a surprisingly sort of normal ritual. It's the kind of ritual you would expect to read about where people try and be immortal. So I'm lighting candles in a pentagram, and then I'm walking like Widdershins around him, reading some stuff out in Latin backwards, walking backwards to do it, because I think I did that at some point. And luckily I brought my books in that bag, that IKEA bag of heads. So I'm walking backwards in it. I think probably, yeah, walking backwards around the pentagram with these sort of improvised candles that I found in the corporate hospitality bit that are just balanced on glass.
Do you want to spend a survival point to find those candles?
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, definitely.
Scented ones,
and yeah, so I'm chanting and I'm trying to get everyone else involved, but they're not. Like all the chants are in like human Latin, which is quite hard to get.
We're just mimicking. We think we're doing great, but the fact that we're just moaning.
Yeah, luckily. I mean, obviously these chants have to be done very exactingly and pronounced exactly right for everyone involved in the ritual.
And also there is the slight problem that you realize just too late that you have made a catastrophic mistake in your assumptions, in that he isn't a human who is turning into a ghoul. You realize too late that this must be a ghoul who has consumed the likeness of Martin Underwood. And as you do that, yeah, the ritual you've cast, I mean, it doesn't have this person who's transformed into a ghoul there to work on. The only person who's transformed into a ghoul who has got to work on there is you. And yeah, as the spell takes effect, you can feel your lovely canines retreating into your mouth. You can feel your knees bending the wrong way.
Horror.
I mean, the rest of you can see this horrible change taking Cold Harold.
He's not even wearing a hat.
I want to help. I want to help bend his knees in the proper way.
That's all right. I'll hold him down.
I eat brains. I eat brains. I eat brains.
I can't understand what he's saying. He's talking in human.
It's been gibberish.
Is he warm Harold now? I knew I'd get to eat him one of these days.
Oh. And as this change is taking him, things go from bad to worse, as you can see coming up the stairs now into the conference room. That huge ghoul who was stalking you earlier, and a few of her friends there, who are now spreading out in the boardroom, looking at the absolute chaos you've caused there. Littletooth still chewing away on Martin Underwood's head. You know, Cold Harold in the process of turning into a human, and this blood-soaked human security guard standing there, looking at everything that's happening. So now that we're coming up to the end of this, I think, what are you doing to try to resolve this situation in any kind of positive way for yourselves?
I'm going to double down and try and chew harder. I'm going to just try and if I'm struggling to get the head off, then maybe I just need to, like a boa constrictor, just try and eat him whole. It's very improbable, but I am a ghoul who likes to eat things. I've yet to meet something I can't eat.
I think if you spent another survival point to try to eat the whole thing, then
yeah, I've nearly run out of survival points, but unfortunately, shall I roll some more dice? I'm sure this won't go wrong.
And I'm going to attempt the compromise by throwing Warm Harold to the ghouls and saying, we take one of yours, you take one of ours, we'll call it quits.
I did get a 17 on trying to eat him again.
You know, I'm not going to turn that into a failure. I think it's too funny if it succeeds. So, yeah, I think just as Moldtongue is trying to get his compromise there, you hear a belch from behind you. And there is your little brother with a very distended looking belly and a big grin on his face.
So I get a point for my bad habit now.
You do. Yeah.
You could try and come. I mean, his second in command's just come up the stairs, hasn't it? Maybe she was willing to compromise earlier, wasn't she, Moldtongue?
This is like Sunny Pines in Chicago all over again, I'll say, shaking my head. So now then, as I was saying in the sewers, we should reach a compromise.
Compromise. You have just eaten our clan father.
Which I think means that you're now clan mother, and you're in charge, so you could do whatever you wanted.
Or it might mean that the one who eats the previous father becomes a new father.
Yeah, maybe I'm in charge now. As I put my hands on my really massive belly. It's still move. I think it's still pretty moving in there because I did eat
the face pressed up against.
Yeah.
I'm standing behind Littletooth and kind of holding him because his belly is so big he's almost falling backwards. And I'm like holding him straight.
Are you suggesting that this runt is our new clan father?
You're damn right.
I think
persuade them of it, Moldtongue.
Yeah, I think this comes down to a risky persuade roll.
You know all that legal jargon.
Well, I'd like to use my find a compromise specialization finally, if I can, at this point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Tash is happy with you rolling for this,
unless you want to roll, Tash, it's up to you. If you want to take
No. I look like a human, and I'm talking.
Oh, that's why you're like one of them, right? The security guard.
Giving you the opportunity.
Yeah, so if it's all right with
do you
you,
want to
Guy, I'm
spell
going
out-
to sacrifice Harold. It's just like, as like to seal the deal. It's like we've eaten one of your clans, so you shall have one of ours, sort of thing.
Well, I was going to say while that negotiation was going on, this might screw this up as well. I think I realise what's happening, and I'm like, oh right, okay, but I mean the candles are already lit, all the stuff's still set up, isn't it? I just turn the book over and do it in the right order, and walk forwards round the thing, and try and turn myself back into a ghoul again while all this is going on.
Okay, then I think this is going to be a risky roll here for you to see whether you can do that in time before you are lunch.
Cool. Do you want that as a, well, is it a cult scholar or is it something else?
I think as we used the cult scholar before, it would be churlish of me not to accept it this time.
Oh, yeah, 25.
Ooh. I do not have enough points of tension to change that. So, yeah, just as Moltung is there offering up the sacrifice of Cold Harold, you look back and his knees are pointing the other way again.
Yeah, unfortunately for Cold Harold, I've already made the deal. And now I'm like riven with guilt because he's back to being a ghoul. I don't want to sacrifice him, but I'm already extending my hand with like the blood on my palm to seal the deal with the opposing ghoul mother. So I'll see if my compromise works. If it does,
Yeah,
I've already agreed to sacrifice him. It's too late.
Yeah.
A deal's a deal.
Yeah.
Ghouls are nothing if not ghouls of their word, right?
I get a 19.
no, I'm not going to change that. So, praisingly, she cocks her head to one side, and then she stalks forward and raises one huge paw up and brings it down and grasps your bloody hand and shakes it violently.
A deal's a deal. I'll look round and go,
She
oh
says,
no.
Very well, I shall take this one. And she reaches down and just picks up Little Tooth. As our new clan father, as is tradition. And this one, wasn't he human a moment ago?
I was just wearing a hat.
No, yes, there's a hat on the floor. Yeah.
Why is it hats confuse us so?
I don't know.
I can't very well eat him now. He looks stringy.
And it would be somewhat of a faux pas, some might say, to eat a fellow ghoul. Maybe just a leg.
There'll be plenty to eat under my reign. Don't
Even a
worry.
leg. Even a leg.
Yes, a leg. That's a compromise. We'll take a leg.
A leg for a leg. Oh, no, not quite.
And so let's just, I think, with that compromise reached, move on very quickly to a couple of little coders. So, what is life like as a clan father to the Dustborn clan for Littletooth, now with his new bride of shadows, this like a monstrous ghoul?
I reckon we already established that the Dust clan.
Dustborn, yeah.
Dustborn, they have a very thriving graveyard. I mean, maybe
They
not
do.
quite as thriving as they were going to. So I reckon it's just a lot of eating. It's just going to be like a all-you-can-eat buffet for the first few years at least. And I reckon Littletooth is going to be pretty fat tooth quite quickly.
And
Yeah,
what does this mean for the future relations between the insular liverworm clan and the larger ghoul community, particularly the Dustborns?
I think it's a never-ending, tedious rounds of compromises. As Moulton's got to now respect his younger brother, and where he used to just bully him and tell him what to do, now it's just constantly. Anytime he tries that on, the bride comes to help with the negotiations, and I have to backtrack. And so, although we're still in our little cemetery, it's we're all looking a bit hungry and thin. There aren't as many bodies because I'm constantly having to ship coffins over to the Dustborn clan to keep Fat Tooth happy. So it's lean pickings, and I imagine I've got the bitter looks across the room from Cold Henry all the time with his one leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does Palest Eyes make of this change in the status quo for the liverworm clan? Is this a good thing now that you're now part of the larger ghoul community and you're not cut off from the world anymore, or is this bad now that you're drawn into all this unpleasant politicking?
Definitely a good thing. I wanted some changes after all of these decades under the old cemetery, and I've got changes. I've got changes I wanted. And also we have a nephew as the father of another clan, so I'm hoping that some of the compromises can still be compromised. After all, it's us who put him in this position, who negotiated his new post. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about our future.
Power behind the throne,
And how about Cold Harold and his one leg?
I mean, luckily, in the lifestyle that I lead, there's a ready supply of legs. And it's significantly easier getting hold of them before Little Tooth eats them now that he's not in our graveyard.
That's true.
Cold Harold always had quite a modest appetite for dead bodies, but I think, if anything, his recent sojourn as a human has led him to take up even more habits. And in his little area, the Warren, there's like a little bed that he found discarded and a little writing desk, a candle and stuff. And he started, actually, he found a quill pen and he started beginning to write his memoirs that are no doubt to be discovered by some humans later as some sort of ravings of a lunatic. And some of his dreams, maybe, of escape as he tries to marry the two parts of his soul together and become human and ghoul as one.
Oh. Well, maybe the secret to happiness in the end is that just one day you need to find the right hat. And shall we leave things there?
Wonderful stuff. That was awesome. Yeah.
I love we got an uplifting message out of it as well at the end.
A life lesson for us all.
Yes. Yes, the power of compromise.
I'm hoping the memoirs is going to be called something like Standing on My Own 2 Feet or something like that. Crossed out with foot or something. Excellent. Well, thanks everybody for watching as well. If you liked what you saw, then please do like, subscribe, share, ring that bell, tell other people. We'll put some links in the show notes. I'll mention at the start. So do go to Blasphemous Tomes, go to Idea Roll, go to Steam for Publishing, go to Burn After Running, go to What Would the Smart Party Do. Lots of great gaming content for you. And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks for another episode of Unconventional GMs. Bye for now.